In this lesson, you will learn how to format cells containing dates and times. Before I start, I need to mention something very important. I already mentioned this in a previous lesson, but not in much detail. Let me be more specific now. Excel stores dates and times as numbers. A date is stored as the number of days since January 1st, 1900. For example, the date 3rd of August 1999 is 36,375 days away from January 1st, 1900. So when I type this date in an Excel cell, what is actually stored is the number 36,375. Now, as far as the times are concerned, they are stored as a decimal number where 0 represents midnight at the start of the day, and the rest of the day is stored as a percentage of the day past. So, for example, 6 o'clock in the morning is stored as 0.25 because it is 1/4 of the day past. 12 o'clock at noon is stored at 0.5 because it is 1/2 of the day, and 6 o'clock in the afternoon is stored as 0.75 because it is 3/4 of the day or 75% of the day. All the other times of the day are stored as a decimal in the same logic. Don't worry, you don't have to make these conversions yourself. You just need to have this general idea of how dates and times are stored, and you will see that it can make you understand why some things will happen during this lesson. So, forget all this for the moment, and let's see how you can apply the date formatting. The first and easiest way is to select the cells you want to format and give them a specific date format. I will select cells A2 to A13. And I will open the dialog box from the number palette. Notice that the date category is already selected. I will scroll down the list of format types to show you that there are even more date formats that I can choose from. These formats determine how the various elements of the date or time will be displayed. For example, the option 3/14/12 indicates that the months with one digit will be displayed with one digit, while in the option right below, the months with one digit will appear with two digits because it says 03. Further down, the 14-mar option indicates that only the day and month will be displayed without the year, and the month will appear with the first letters of its word, not as a number. I will choose this format, and I will click OK to apply it. Of course, the data regarding the year inside the cells have not been lost. I will click on cell A5, for example, and I can see in the formula bar that data in the cell remains what it was. Once again, remember that there is a difference between the actual data and what is displayed in the cell. I will now select cell A13 and I will type a different date, for example 3/5/2024. And I will press enter. As soon as I pressed enter, the cell took the specific formatting I set before. Be aware that using a formatting without the year makes room for misunderstandings. The date in cell A13 is in 2024, while all the others are from 2022. So be careful of the choices you make in formatting, because there are cases where bad formatting can lead to bad interpretation of the data. There is also the possibility to apply some date formatting directly from the tools in the number palette without opening the dialog box. I will select the range A2 to A13, and from the number format list I will choose short date, so I get this format. Or if I want to get the full date, I will go back to the list and I will choose long date, so I get this format. Of course, these options are also available in the number palette dialog box, and I could apply them from there as well. Let's see now an important thing which is related to what I mentioned at the beginning about dates being stored as numbers. I will start by telling you that the cells contain their formatting even when I delete the data inside them. With all these cells already selected, I will press delete on the keyboard. As you can see, the content is deleted. Now I will click on cell A2 and I will type a number, let's say 5,600, and I will press enter. As you can see, a date appeared instead of the number. And this is because Excel formatted the number based on the date format I had previously set in the cell. The reason this happens is because Excel actually stores dates as the number of days that have passed since January 1st, 1900. That's why this date appeared here. This date, 5,600, this date is 5,600 days after January 1st, 1900. Let me show you another example to make this clearer. In cell A3, I will type the number 1 and I will press enter. The date January 1st, 1900 appeared. In cell A4, I will type the number 2 and I will press enter. Now the date of January 2nd, 1900 appeared, and so on. What that means is that in cell A2, the date May 1st, 1915 is the 5,600th day if I start counting from January 1st, 1900. And that's why this specific date appeared. All these are explained in more detail in the advanced level lessons, and there you will see the real power behind this mechanism and the capabilities it offers. Here, the purpose is to understand why sometimes I don't get the result I want when I write something in a cell. For example, the same thing will happen in cell B2, which is formatted as a currency unit. I will type a date and I will press enter. You see that a number appeared. This is the number of days that have passed from January 1st, 1900 until the day I entered. So the formatting remains in the cell, and whatever data I enter, it takes the corresponding formatting. However, this will change if I put in some text. I will type in cell B2 my name, and I will press enter. Since text has been entered here, it can no longer retain this kind of formatting, but anything that is either a number or a date or time takes the formatting I have set in the corresponding cell. This makes sense if you consider that the palette from which I made all these formatting changes is called the number palette, so the formatting it applies is focused on numerical values. If I now want to display the actual data I entered in the column of dates, I need to change the formatting. I will select cells A2 to A4, and from the dialog box in the number palette, I will choose the general category and I will click on OK. As you can see, the numbers I have entered are now properly displayed. Similarly, I will type in cell B2 the date 1/1/2023, and I will press enter. Now to see the data displayed as date, I will select B2 and I will open the number format list and I will choose the short date format, for example. As you can see, the data are now displayed in the format I had initially typed. So this is something that you should be aware of if you enter a number in a cell and a date or a time appears, or the opposite, if you try to write a date or a time and a number appears instead, the formatting is to blame. To display your data correctly, you need to modify the formatting. Now seems like a good opportunity to see how you can clear a formatting from a cell or range of cells. I will select the area from F2 to F13, and in the editing palette from the Clear tool, I will choose Clear Formats. As you can see, the data remains as is, but there are no longer any formats applied. So now if I write a date in cell F2, for example this date, and I will press enter, it displays this specific date as I have entered it because there are no formats. I will open the Clear tool again to show you that I can also use the option Clear All. What Clear All does is that it clears both the data and the formatting, while the symbol delete on the keyboard only clears the contents. So this is the difference between the various clear options. Clear comments and clear hyperlinks are options I will not deal with now, as they are part of the advanced level lessons. So what I am interested in here is just the three first options. So again, keep in mind that when you enter something in a cell and something else appears, you should check the formatting. Now, formatting time works in the same way. I will click in cell G2 and I will type in the number, the time 1700 hours, and I will press enter here. Since there was no format applied to the cell, the data are displayed as I typed it in. I will select the cell G2 so that you can have a look at the data in the formula bar. I will now open the number palette dialog box and I will select the time category. And from here I can select the format I want. For example, I will choose this format. in which the seconds are also displayed, and I will click OK. As you can see, the hash symbols appear in the cell. If you remember from a previous lesson, that means that a number is inside the cell, but the column width is too small for it to be displayed fully. So I will do a double click on the divider between columns G and H, and now the time is displayed in this format. If I now want the time to be in a 24-hour clock format, that is where 1 o'clock is in the afternoon, appears as 13, I will open the dialog box again. I will select this type, and I will click OK. As you can see, the cell now shows 17 and not 5. Let's see now how the hours are stored as numbers, similarly to how dates are stored as numbers. I'm going to change the format of cell G2 to number from the number format list on the ribbon. As I said at the beginning of the lesson, Excel stores times as a decimal number less than 1, with 0 being midnight, being the beginning of the day. The time value will never be exactly 1, because this would mean the midnight of the next day, so it's always a decimal number less than 1. Over here, 5 o'clock in the afternoon is around 0.7, that is, we are a bit over 70% of the day. If you see in the formula bar, the precise value in the cell is a bit different, but Excel rounded up to 0.71%, 0.71. A clearer example will be to type in the number 0.125. 0.125 is 3 o'clock in the morning, which is 12.5% of the day. I will select the cell G2, and from the number format list, I will choose time so that you can see that it is actually the time I said. Finally, let's take a look at the ability you have to combine date and time formatting. In cell J2, I will type a date, and I will follow this date by a space, and now I will add a time, so I have a combination of both of these, and now I will press enter. The cell seems to have a currency format. This is why this number appears this way. I will select the cell and from the number format list, I will choose number, and I will increase the number of decimal digits from the tool in the ribbon, so that, let's say, 4 decimal digits are displayed. The integer part of the number represents the date, and the decimal part represents the time. I will open the dialog box from the number palette, and I will choose the date category. Here I will select the type that includes both the date and the time as well. And I will click OK, and as you can see, the entire date and time now appear in the cell. So once again, what happened here is that date and time together in the same cell are represented by a number that has in its integer part the number of days that have passed since January 1st, 1900, and in its decimal part the percentage of the day that has passed since midnight. What I mainly want you to remember from this lesson is that when you format date and time from the dialog box of the number palette, there are many options to properly display the date and time. You don't need to remember all this about how numbers with dates and times are stored. Just keep in mind that if at some point you type some data and instead of getting what you want, something else appears, then you should think that you probably need to change the formatting. Usually the formatting is to blame for this kind of results. Those of you who are interested in learning more about how the dates and times work in Excel, you will have the opportunity to see this at the advanced level course. Finally, you saw that you have the ability from the clear button in the editing palette to clear not only the content, but also the formatting or even everything at once. That's all for this lesson. Thank you for watching.